All right. Welcome, everybody, to day 2 of the Quantum Leap Masterclass. I'm very excited to dive into today's conversation about harmonics. So yesterday, we talked about our foundations of safety and connection that every human being on this planet really needs to actually step into some big shifts and changes. And before we jump into the next conversation, I want to just ask if there's any questions, or if anybody wants to share anything that shifted from yesterday. I would love to hear. And if not, we'll just dive into the next conversation. It's amazing testimonials and people saying big things are shifting already. So it's always fun. When I was thinking this morning about how I wanted to kind of bridge into this next conversation, what I was realizing is that not everybody needs like all 3 pieces. Like the whole process. Some people are like, oh, I needed this piece or I needed this piece. And I understood parts of it. And so it'll be interesting to see how today goes, because I think some people, this is the easy part, and some people, this is like the hardest thing ever. So it's very interesting to think about. All right. So the topic of harmonics, the idea behind it, when this dropped through of how I could talk about quantum leaps into new timelines, what I was seeing, and I talked a little bit about it yesterday, but how I see timelines looking kind of like the Bifrost in the Thor movies, with all of the light and the color and the shimmering going on. And so when I look at those timelines, what I'm actually looking at is every single color and strand of light is a different tone. It's a different frequency. And combined, they harmonize to create the timeline we're currently living. And so what I was realizing is that I've made big shifts in some areas, but not in others. And some people are able to make big shifts in different areas than I was able to make. And so what I was looking at was kind of recognizing that these strands of light were actually all of these different pieces of what we're embodying as our frequency, because we're not single dimension. We're not one thing, right? We're many dimensions of things. We have relationships with many different kinds of people, and some of those relationships have a higher vibration, and some of those relationships have a lower vibration. Some of we all have different work situations, different money situations. We have different housing situations, different environment and community situations. We have all of these various differences in our frequency. And so it was like these strands are different changes that everybody has together, and then when we put it all together, that's our existence, and it all lives within our being. And so it's almost like our timeline that we're creating is actually stemming from ourselves, from the frequency we have right now. And so as we look within our bodies, and we know what we are within creates what we have without. We know that. And so how can we shift our frequency to align to something different that we want? So I was looking at this because I was realizing, not everybody who makes these big shifts and changes wants to change everything, right? Not everybody wants to uproot their entire lives and change the whole everything. Some people are like, okay, I really like how I'm living in this area, but there's this thing I want to change this one thing, this one area. And so it's not that we have to jump into something massive. We just have to focus on the tuning of the frequency of that area. And so, like, for example, right, when I talk a lot about the time I was going through my divorce. I think everybody here is somewhat familiar with that story, but when I was going through my divorce, I was fighting for custody. I was fighting for safety for myself and my children. My frequency that I was holding, I had a good job. I was making good money. I was safe and secure in my finances. I had housing. I had some friends and support, but I had this whole level of just shit, really. But it was in me. It was in me, and it was in the things I was holding that was creating this in my environment in some level. And yes, it happened to me, but I wasn't shifting it. I was taking it. I was taking what happened in my external environment and making it me, making it mean something about me. And I took it on as something that I now had to embody. And I think a lot of people do this. They things happen in their world, and all of a sudden it shifts their frequency, and it's like, okay, this is my problem. I have to take it on, and I have to be this person now, instead of reacting and changing and shifting. Because had I left in the beginning of the whole situation, things would be very, very different. But I didn't. I took it on as my thing because of the frequency I was holding when it came to the relationship with my children and their father, and my own experience with my father. And so it hit that chord with me, and I went, oh, this is my problem, and now I have to create this whole thing. And so when we're looking at our different things, because a lot of people, and the big ones I hear about are either relationships, money, and jobs, or health, right? Those are like the big three things that people on some level want to shift. And sometimes they want to shift all three. But we got to look at the fine-tuned details. We got to look at the individual pieces of what's going on, because it's not necessarily all relationships. We might have really beautiful relationships with some people, but we just don't have that partnership we want, or we don't have a don't have the relationship with our family that we want, or whatever it is. And so we're just right now, all we're looking at is we're identifying. We're just kind of identifying all of these levels and layers that we're holding of our own vibration and our own self that is creating this reality. Because when we start to look at how do we shift and tune to a new frequency, we actually need to go, the first question is, why don't you already have it? Like that question, why don't you already have it? What about you? What comes up when you want the relationship, or you want the job, or you want the money, or whatever it is? Why don't you have it today? And a lot of people, the first thing that comes up is fear. They're like, because I can't, or there's a bunch of stories, or it just hasn't. It's very rarely does somebody say it hasn't happened yet. It's coming, it hasn't happened yet. Very rarely is that the answer. Usually there's a whole lot more stuff and reasons of why they don't have it yet. Sometimes if it's, a business with money, it's, well, because then people would have to see me. People will have to see me, and I don't know that I'm ready for that. Or if people want more money, they don't actually think they're worthy of receiving that money. They think that everybody else deserves it, but not them. They don't really need it. And so those things within their beliefs, within those strands of frequency, are keeping them out of harmonics with the timeline they're trying to jump into, right? Those things are making it really kind of hard, because if you want somebody who wants to make $1 million a year, but you're currently making $10,000 a year, there's something in your harmonics that is saying, I can't have that. Because if you could, if it was, you would have it. There's something in your belief structure, something in your stories that says, I can't have that. I'm not worthy of it. It can't come to me. And so we have to find out what that thing is. And the second question I want to ask people when they come here is, it's not just why don't you have it yet, but what benefit do you have to not having it? Because there's on some level, everything we do, literally everything we do on some level to benefit us in some capacity. And so if you don't have it yet, but you say you want it, but there's a belief that you can't really have it, what's the benefit to not changing that belief and holding on to that? Because if we didn't have a benefit, we would let it go. And often truly the benefit is, because then I don't have to take accountability, because then I don't have to say, I don't have to be disappointed. I don't have to try and fail and then be disappointed again. So I'm not going to put myself out there. I'm not going to do the thing. And it's good enough like it is. It's fine, right? That's the belief. It's fine how it is. It's not a big deal. And so the benefit is that they just get to stay in their uncomfortable discomfort. They get to just stay here in the known of what they already have, because the unknown is impossible. And they would rather stay here uncomfortable than take a leap of faith in themselves and create something entirely new, because maybe it might not be what they thought. And so we have to take a look at those things. And the point of today is to start to kind of look at this stuff, because there's a bajillion tools out there on how we go through and how we change beliefs and how we release these patterns and all of that. And Most people have some idea of how they could go about it. And if this is something you want specific help with your specific situation, reach out. I would love to find a way to work together, and be more than happy to help walk through that with you. But if you're somebody who has these tools, this is absolutely something you can do on your own. But the goal is to take a look at those things that you want to change about your life. Why don't you have it? And what's the benefit to keeping it the way it is for you right now? Because let me give you some more examples. When I was going through my divorce, why didn't I have it? Well, because this has all happened to me. This has all happened to me. So clearly the system was broken and it wasn't my fault. Well, the benefit of holding on to that belief is it wasn't my fault. I didn't want to take responsibility. I didn't want to take accountability to the choices that I had made. I wanted to say, I've given my power away and the system didn't save me. That's not my fault. That had a huge benefit for me. I got to just wipe my hands of it. But that wasn't stepping into my power. That wasn't creating. That was just, yes, I was giving my power away. And I'm sure I hoped that it would work out to my favor, but I wasn't demanding. I wasn't saying this is my reality and this is what I'm creating. I was very much giving it away and just absolving myself, just letting it go, being just, And I had to shift that in order to shift my reality. And then, the same thing I see this with people who want to attract a partner, or they want to attract money, or they want to attract other new changes to them. Why don't they have it yet? Well, because the right person hasn't found me, or the clients just can't find me for some reason. I don't know why. Or, whatever. There's a total responsibility on the other person that's supposed to show up and find you. And so the benefit of believing that is you never have to be disappointed if you put yourself out there and it doesn't work, right? You never have to be disappointed if you put your soul out to the world to read and see and speak and they reject you. You never have to feel that. And so people are like, okay, I'm just gonna stay over here. That's easier, right? But that's not how we jump into new places. That's not how we shift. That's not how we quantum leap by staying comfortable where we are. We have to say, no, I want this. And I want to create change in my life. And I want to do things in my life. And so I have to move. And so what I want to do, I want to go back to the word we pulled out yesterday, the word that arrived as we sat in safety of what you want to create. Because when we start with that word, what I was really reflecting on this morning as I was on my run is this idea that so many people want to create. They want to create the shoulds. They want to create the things they were supposed to create, the things that they were told they needed, right? We need to have this kind of job. We need to make this kind of money. We need to have this kind of relationship because that's what everybody else does. They seem happy enough, right? That's what everybody else does. And when we do things because we were told to or because we should do them, there's a very different amount of weight and gravity in those things versus the things that arrive because they came from within ourselves. It's almost like, in high school, for instance, my mother and the college admittance lady in my high school very much wanted me to go to college. It's very important. It's very important for all of the beliefs that they had about college and what it was. It was also very important for the school to have 100% college admittance that they could use on their flyers and all the things. And my mom went to college and a master's degree. And to her, that was the way to get a good job and to be successful and all the things. And I was like, I don't want to. I don't want to do that. That doesn't sound fun for me. And I even had a college savings that my grandfather had given me. And it wasn't enough for 4 years, but it was a starting point. And I was like, I don't want to go into more debt. I don't want to do that. And it was interesting because they were like, what? That's not, and I grappled with it because I had lived by supposed to's and not wanting to disappoint people. And eventually they actually applied for me and I was accepted to the local college and I decided, fine, I'll give it a try. And I went for a semester. Now I am somebody in high school, I got like straight A's for the most part, despite almost never showing up to class. That's just always how I was. I graduated with honors. In college, I failed nearly every class until I eventually withdrew from all of them. The one semester I attended, I could give two shits about. I was like, I don't want to be here. I don't like it. I don't know why they forced me here. I hate this. And so after one semester and basically failing out, I completely withdrew. and I let go. And so I was looking at that. And so this desire that was placed upon me to go to college and to act upon, that many people go do, right? Many people go to college because their parents told them to, and their parents either paid for it or they went into debt for it. They then never feel the weight and the gravity and the importance of what they're doing. They never get it. They don't go to college because that's the pathway to their dream. They go because they're supposed to. And so if your desire and the things you want to create in your life are coming from supposed to's and looking at other people, they're never going to land for you the same way. Something that comes from your soul, something that comes from deep within you of who you are and what you desire to become and create in this world. And that's why it's so important that we have that foundation and safety so that we can actually allow ourselves to bring those things up and forward. Because until we have safety, we're like, but all I want is to be safe. All I want is to feel secure. And therefore I have to do it like this. Right. And so that's why those foundations are so key. So that when we actually get to the point where we're trying to harmonize to the thing carries weight for us. The thing carries the gravity of who we are. It is us. And it is much easier to look at and harmonize because we'll get to the point where I want this, and there is nothing that will stop me because this is who I am, and I cannot not be who I am. And we start to see that about ourselves, the other stuff matters a lot less. It really does. It matters a lot less because it's irrelevant. And so for me, those big ones, the safety that I needed, it was like, no, I deserve to be safe. I deserve to be secure in my reality. I deserve to have my kids safe. I deserve to not be constantly in fight or flight. So I had to believe that about myself. I had to believe that I was worth it. I had to believe that I didn't deserve everything that was being thrown at me because I didn't leave in the beginning. And I had to believe that I could create it to do so. And then I had to believe that as a human, I needed support and connection, and that it was okay to need it, that I absolutely deserved such things because I give so much to people, and it was okay for me to desire to receive support too. And so when I was getting to the point where that's what I wanted, it was coming from here. It was coming from my heart and my need to be connected. It wasn't coming from, well, people say is what I needed. No, I was fed up with being alone all the time. And it was coming from here. And this place I'm sitting in now, where I'm like, I have so much. I have so much, and I have so many stories, and I have so many awarenesses, and I have these people who are supportive and connected. We're safe. We have so much. But what I desire now is actually to make an impact. What I desire now is to step forward and share more of who I am. And I don't want to do it in a small way. That's not who I am. I don't want to set up a business and do this like stair stepping thing up. I want to come out and like make an impact, and I want to figure out how that looks. And so that's how I have to shift for myself, because if I try to do this the supposed to way, okay, now you have the things, now you have to go get the job or set your business up in a way that makes this much money so that you can make this much money and to make this much money. No, I don't want to do that. That's not how I am. So I'm working right now. I'm in the process of attuning to this frequency of impact, of change, of big movement, because I want to be the ripple. I want to spark. I want everybody out there in the world to operate from a place where they're operating from self, from deep within themselves, not from the memory and the supposed to's and this is what everybody told me and this is what my parents did, so this is what I'm going to do. And so whatever that word is for you, whatever that thing that arose for you, that's the thing that we need to take a look at here. So I'm just going to mute everybody. That's the thing that we need to hold within ourselves, and that's how we have to operate from. That's the creation that we're stepping forward. And so as we're looking at this harmonization, we're looking at all of these levels and layers of where we are today, the timeline we are today, where these threads are within our bodies. This word, the gravity of the word, is actually what will create the new timeline that we want to jump to. It's that future timeline that your future self gave you from deep within yourself. And so the exercise I actually want to do today is, and I'm going to preface this with a caveat here, because what I want to do is we're going to take this word that we had and we're going to expand it out. We're going to expand it and we're going to build a visual. We're going to build a story. We're going to build all of these possibilities. Now, the caveat I have here is every time I do this, I get excited about what I see and I get excited about it and I grab onto it and I'm like, okay, that's the thing I want. That's the what. And so clear, that's the direction I have to go. That's the what. Now, the goal of this exercise is not to actually get those details. As much as we humans like the details and like to cement in how we want to, how it's going to all work out and the specifics, that's not the goal. What I've learned through trial and tribulation and many tears is that the goal of the root and this gravity of what we're creating and bringing it out there and actually transforming it into visuals is to really deepen the feelings. Is to really deepen the feelings of what it is we're creating so that we can bring all of that feeling into ourselves. Because then we actually have to release this. This is the surrender part. We talked about this yesterday. This is the surrender part. It's not the gravity that you're surrendering. You're surrendering the how and the what and the vision that you had for how it's going to unfold. That's the part we have to release. But by building it, because this is something I didn't understand for a long time. I'm somebody who plays trajectories out of my head, like over and over and over and over again. I've always done that. It makes me very strategic in business situations because I can see all the outcomes and I can play all the scenarios out and I can find the best one. But I was like, what's the value to that? If I have to just surrender all the time, why do I do that? Why am I doing it? And what I was realizing is that the reason I'm doing it isn't to cement it in and say, I'm putting my stake in the sand. This is what it's going to look like. No, the reason I'm doing it is actually so that I can deepen the feeling and I can try on how this feels and how this feels and how this feels so that I can really ground in. Oh, I want to feel like this. I like how this feels. Yeah, I think a lot of people do. It's really, I never understood it. And it's really bad when I'm stressed, especially because it's like my mind won't shut up and it just spins and spins and spins. But I had to stop looking at it as a wrongness and something I had to stop because there's value. There's value in everything we do. We wouldn't do it. And so I had to realize that the value is feeling everything, feeling into every single one of those and going, okay, this is the one I like. And if I'm playing out these fears in my head, then there's something that those fears are showing me that I need to release in myself. Like there's reasons I'm doing it. And so if what you're playing out in your head goes down this rabbit hole of, yeah, but I can't. Okay, so then you're shown again where something in yourself doesn't believe in you, doesn't trust in you. Why not? You are the consciousness in this body. Why can't you trust the consciousness in this body when that's all you actually have? Right? If we place our trust in others, that doesn't help us. And so the stories that we play in our heads over and over and over and over again are giving us things. They're giving us the feelings of the creations we actually want. If we allow ourselves to dream, if we allow ourselves to feel into this creation we're bringing forward, then the emotions, the feelings, the entirety of what that vision could be actually gets to pull into us. And we can feel it even harder and we can know, okay, it's right there. I can feel it. I can do it. I can have it. And it gives us so much more than just this one word we're chasing. It gives us so much more to hold, to like feel and believe for ourselves. But the reason we have to release it at the end after we do this exercise is because I like 100% of the time, it doesn't work out how like we think it's going to work out. It happens even better. If we can release it and let the stake in the sand go, it works out even better because the feelings and the emotions are what guide us, not the thing itself. Some people, still will get the thing that they want, but if you hold it too tight, at least for me, my experience has been, it blows up in my face because the feeling that I'm after is so much bigger than I ever let myself dream. I could not, at the point in time where I sent my creations out there, even dream that I could have the things I have today. This idea that I would just magically land in the one place I had been kid-free in 2 years and meet the person that would become my husband in less than a year's time was unfathomable to me. Like, what? That doesn't even make sense. I believed that the best I could hope for in a romantic relationship was somebody who was nice to me and my children. That was it. That's all. That's all I could hope for, because my experience had shown me that was even hard. That was hard. I have three boys. Like, yeah, a single mom of 3 boys. That's seemingly impossible, right? I was told over and over again, nobody's going to take that on. That's crazy. And so I had all of these beliefs, but what I was holding was connection and community and support. I was holding that, and I was dreaming. I could see the house, and I could see the friends, and I could feel that I wasn't going to have to be the one to pick up the kids every single day forever. But I didn't know what that was going to look like. And I built in my head friends and support and other things. And then when I landed in Banff and I met Justin, by complete crazy circumstance that the only available room was the one with the one man attending the workshop, I was shocked that the universe was like, no, here, this is how it can work. Here you go. And here, you need to be somewhere else. And so it was like this, what? That doesn't make sense. But I got to be surprised. And it did come with a lot of chaos in the plans that I had put my stake in the sand with. And I had said, oh, okay, but it's going to look like this. And now I have to redo it. But I didn't actually have to redo it. I had to trust me. I had to trust the creation that I was doing. I had to trust the desires of my heart to move me forward. And I had to follow from here instead of follow from here, which was something that is not come natural to me. It's not, I've always been a very cerebral, act with, analytical, and analyze and then make decisions. But when we're manifesting big things, and we're manifesting things that hold gravity, and that we're manifesting things that are true and dear to our hearts, and we want to collapse time to make them happen, we can't follow our head, because it's not logical. Our head in this consciousness wants to do linear thinking. It wants to look at step by step by step by step. But that's not how it works when we lead with the heart. When we lead with the heart and we lead with the gravity of our beliefs and what we want, truly what we desire, that's when we get to go outside of linear. That's when we get to collapse time and bring it to us in a way we didn't expect. And so we're gonna do this exercise together, because I think it's gonna be really fun for everybody to see what comes forward. And so if you have your word, the desire, the gravity of what you want to create that came from you yesterday, and if you don't have it right now, that's okay. But you can still participate and just dream with us. Dream with us in your mind of what you might want, and try on how it feels. And then figure out if you can feel whether it's your dream or somebody else's, because the goal is to really dream from here, from ourselves, from our heart. Okay. And so when you're ready, just go ahead and take a deep breath. Just get really centered into that heart space. Really find that gravity, that light, who you are, that anchor. And I want you to remember the word that came up for you yesterday, or throughout the day yesterday, of what it is you want, what it is you are creating. I want you to bring that up into your body and feel it come out of your heart space. And as you bring it forward, I want you to feel how this is going to feel in your body when you have the safety, the connection, community, the abundance, whatever your word is. Peace, harmony, unity, all of those. I want you to just feel it inside your body. And then what I want you to do is actually, almost like your heart space is one end of this Bifrost, I want you to extend it out. I want you to pull that word out so that we extend that out from your heart. And it starts to form a timeline. It starts to form a timeline that has many different colors, many different frequencies and light, purples and blues and greens and yellows and all of these different colors. And there's all of these possibilities for how that word is going to manifest into your life. And then I want you to actually allow a picture to start to form in your mind as you go forward 5 years, maybe longer. What is your life going to look like? When we ground in that word, the gravity of what your heart desires, what is this going to do for your reality? How is this going to feel? What might happen? Allow pictures to form, scenes to play in your mind. Connections you may have, connections that have changed. How money comes to you easily or freely. What place are you in the world? What's the feeling that all of this is inspiring within you? Is there excitement here? Joy? It's almost like fluttering. Allow yourself to feel into this, that knowing that this beautiful thing in front of you is coming from you, from your heart, from who you are. And as these scenes play out, allow yourself to believe them, believe in the possibility of them, believe they can happen to you. I love expanding this out and even looking at what you creating this ripples out to the world. If we ask our awareness to show us what us stepping into this place does for not just us, our families, our communities, the whole planet, what ripple effect do we have if we can anchor in this vision of who we can be? What possibilities may change? And as we see all of those things, we have so much gratitude for this vision and this experience, because the fact that it's in our minds means we know we have access to it. We've seen it. We can believe it because we've seen it. Just because there isn't an example in our life in the 3D doesn't mean it is not within us to create. We would not see it if it wasn't. Trust in the vision unfolding. Trust that you can and are already taking steps to make it happen. Trust that by being here today, that's exactly what you're doing. If you have children, see how they play into this, see how they experience you differently. See how your friends and family experiences you differently. I want you to feel what you feel like, who you are, and how that's different than how you are right this moment. What's different about you? Is your level of confidence changed? Your level of trust? Your level of knowing who you are and why you're here? Is your excitement and joy different? How you experience the harder emotions like fear and sadness, how is that different here? What we're doing is we're compounding this possibility in ourselves. We're allowing ourselves to see what may happen, one potential of us holding on to this gravity. I want you to feel how important it is that this gravity come from within you and you hold on to it, because if you give this to somebody else to create for you, it won't look like this. It won't feel like this. Your dreams are your own for a reason. Your visions come from you for a reason. The next thing we're going to do, we're going to pull all of that feeling and emotion and everything that this vision is and can be. We're going to bring it back down into our heart and into our bodies. We're going to pull it all the way back into our hearts. And we're going to pull it down into our womb space, into the place of creation. Because truly, as we create in this world, we create from this energy. Allowing ourselves to create from all of who we are. Allowing this vision to incubate within ourselves, to be held close to us, to be so important, just as a child would be, to be everything. Allow yourself to embody all of that gravity, all of that emotion. You may feel your physical body wanting to attune right now and to shift and change to that creation, to release beliefs and stories as energy. It may want to go down all the way to a cellular and DNA level. Just breathe through. Allow what needs to go, and allow what needs to change to change. Perhaps your tones will change. The way you speak, the way you hold yourself. Good. When you're ready, you can open your eyes and check in with your body. How are you doing? How do you feel? One of the things I find that people don't do very often is dream. They don't let themselves dream big. They don't let themselves feel the possibilities because they don't want to maybe be wrong. They don't want it to be as big, as vast as it could be. But it's not the anchor of the what that we're holding on to. It's the energy and the excitements and the feelings. That's what we ground into. Good, very grounded, awesome. That's what we feel into. That's what we hold on to. It's not the how and the what. Just because I see myself on stage in a specific stadium doesn't mean that's how I'm going to share my story. I'm going to share my story like that and probably many other things. I'm not going to hold on to that being the one thing, because that's not the feeling I want. The feeling I want is the excitement and the almost like terror excitement that you have when you're about to do something that, oh my God, I'm going to actually do this. That's the feeling that I'm holding on to. That's the feeling I'm chasing, because I want to be pushing myself. I want to be pushing me as far as I can. And so as I do it, I push myself and I chase that feeling and I birth that feeling into the world in everything I do. So our goal is to harmonize all of who we are to what we desire on all levels and layers. And if we want to change everything, we can change everything. And if we only want to change this few things, that's great too, because it all gets to harmonize with ourselves and it gets to harmonize with the universe itself. because it all works together, right? We can't have the relationships without the place to live necessarily. Like it all connects, it all works together. And so we think we know all the possibilities, but we only know the smallest fractal. We know what we know, but the universe has access to so much more. So as we put our intentions out there, the universe then gets to say, okay, how is this going to work? How is this going to harmonize? This is the intention putting forward. And that's where we get to be surprised and excited. And that's where we get to allow things to arrive with ease. Now, tomorrow, we're going to talk about the last step of all of this, and that is the actions. That's the very masculine steps that we have to take. But it's the key here is to stay in harmony. And the actions are what helps us to do that, because the closer and closer we get to actually manifesting the thing in the physical, the easier it is to keep feeling it, right? The easier it is to keep feeling it and to keep holding on to it, and the faster it starts to come to us. So sitting in this energy, sitting in the embodiment of everything you desire to birth forward and create and step out into the world, the impact you desire to make and ripple into the world. That's the harmonics piece here. That's how we step forward and shift. Now, if as we were doing that, you had fears come up, if you had what ifs, but I can'ts or shoulds, if that's starting to surface for you, write them down. Write down all of those things that come up that tell you you can't, because those are the things we have to look at that will block the shifting that you need in order to bring forward what you want. Every story that comes in through your mind about I can't, it's not going to work, it's never worked before, who am I, all of it, put it on paper, look at it, choose to release it, let it go. Whatever belief repatterning tool you like, if you just want to burn the paper, do it. Doesn't matter. By actively choosing to release it and operating from a new place, you will change it. You're choosing this new harmony. You're choosing this new frequency. You want to play a different song. And in order to do that, we've got to let some of the other stuff go, right? The keys that go flat, they don't fit with this new one. We need to let them go. So the goal for today and the rest of today until we meet tomorrow is to go through those things. Everything that comes up about I can't, I shouldn't, who am I, all of it, all of it. Let's go through every single thing that you believe why you can't. And what benefit is it giving you? What are the things that are keeping you out of tune from that beautiful vision you had? What are the reasons? Put them on paper, take a look at them, see them for what they are. Because until we let them go, it's just harder and harder to pull that forward. And if you want to go back and continue to build on your timeline and your dream, please do. The more time you spend the energy of that excitement and I know it's coming to me because I can feel it and I can see it. The more you spend time there, the faster it can come, because you're literally anchoring in that future timeline into the gravity of this creation. You're like, pull me, give me, okay, I can do this. I am this. And if you're struggling to actually find your why and you're the thing you're bringing forward and who it is, what you are, what you're here to do, that's where we have to look at all of the things that you've done that aren't you. All of the things that you've done because you were told you were supposed to, or that's what everybody else did. I know there's so many people out there, and I have dear friends who everything in their life on some level was done because somebody told them that's what they were supposed to do. And they get to this point where they're like, I don't know who I am. Who am I? I'm just a creation of everybody else's stuff. And it's a big realization to hit, because every time they release something, there's another one. Oh no, that one wasn't mine either. And so we got to take a look at it and go, okay, who am I here? Well, what's the gravity of who I am? What have I been hiding from myself? What have I been afraid to birth and bring forward? There's so many wounds out there of what has happened if we actually step forward and be ourselves. But I don't believe that's how it works anymore. We're in a world now. I have seen so many different things where we truly do create our reality. And I don't choose to live in a reality where stepping forward and sharing my truth is a wrongness in any way. That's not the reality I'm creating. That's not the people I'm calling into me. And if somebody is hurt by my words, well, they're not my person. And that's okay. That's actually good for me to know. I would rather them not be part of that reality. Or maybe I can be the catalyst for them to go figure out something for them. And that's not a wrongness either. The more we spend time in this energy of creation, of excitement, of exploration, of, oh my gosh, okay, it's not that I can't have it. I just don't have it yet, but it's coming. It's coming because I can feel it. And every step I make, I know I'm acting from this place. And every movement is bringing it closer to me. And I'm trusting that now, because I'm back in control, I'm in the driver's seat of my life, because I'm in control here, that I'm choosing, and therefore I can't lose. It's just, I'm driving to the destination and it will get here when it gets here. But I'm going to also get to enjoy the ride because I know that I'm doing this. Nobody can take it away from me because I'm doing it. And I'm doing it my way. And I'm doing it how I want to. And I know I'm safe, I'm secure, I'm grounded in myself, I'm grounded in my home. I know I have support, I know I have connections. And so now I just get to dream, and I get to dream, and I get to release everything that doesn't allow me to dream the really big dreams. And as we step into that place, that's how we operate and move forward here. That's how we operate and move forward. And we start to eventually take actions from. Okay, so I'm going to pause after all that. Does anybody have questions or things that are coming up through today's conversation? No, I gotta see one head shake. No. It's interesting. I was talking last night to Justin about this, and he's like, "Oh, I think this is my missing piece," because he's been safe and connected and all of that, but he hasn't always felt like he could find the thing. And then I think I was talking to Sarah briefly, and she said, "Oh, this is the part I can do. It's the other parts that I struggle with." So it was just an interesting reflection that everybody's different. Some people can dream. Some people can go, okay, I can shift this. I can do this. But they're not anchored in themselves, and they don't take those as consistent actions. And some people, it's the opposite. They're just like, I don't know how to release this fear that it might not work out. I don't know how to remove that. I don't know how to trust that. I don't know how to allow myself to potentially feel disappointed because it didn't happen yet. But that's the thing. It's not that it didn't happen right now. It just didn't happen yet. Because the creation that's unfolding is going to be better than the vision you have. It always is. If we operate from the feeling and we operate from that gravity and that grounded place, the creation that unfolds is better than we're capable of envisioning. Because we don't know everything. We don't know everybody out there. We don't know all of the possibilities. We only have the memories that we have to build pictures from even. And so it's almost like our data bank, our awareness data bank of all possibilities isn't complete to give us the whole vision. And so if we allow ourselves to just bring the feelings, because that's the thing about energy, it's not that everything I see is exactly that way in the energetic form. I'm interpreting the energy and the frequency through my lensing, through my data bank, through my perception. And so as these visions unfold, the interpretation that I get is just my own. But it's the feeling and the energy that matters, that comes forward, because somebody else can read the exact same energy and see something different out of it. And that's not a wrongness. That's not a I'm right, they're wrong, or vice versa. That's just an interpretation of the energy. And that's the beautiful thing about this. Because if we can take the energy and trust the universe, trust ourselves, trust this co-creation, that's we get to be just like shocked beyond all possible beliefs. If you would have told me a year ago that I was going to be married again and in Canada and with all of this support and love around me, I would have told you were crazy. that really would have told you were crazy, because I was house hunting in a different place in Oregon, and I was struggling to find loans, and I was sure I was going to stay there. And I was actually very upset about all of these different things that were happening in all of my life. And I didn't make any sense. But because I released that and I sat with myself and I just trusted my creation, magic unfolded. And I know that I'm in the process right now of incubating a new set of magic, and I don't even know what it is. And it feels even bigger and exciting than anything I've ever done, but it's there and I can feel it and I'm holding it. And part of my actions are doing these workshops and doing these things and sharing all of the things I have, because I want to create people. I want to empower people to create their own beautiful visions. And I want to give people the keys and codes to do that. That's my goal, is to have everybody operating from self, not my vision, their vision. Because I don't have all the information, right? I only know what I know. And I want to empower everybody. And I want to give everybody these tools of creating from self in a very different way, so that they can bring forward their dreams. And to me, that's how we change the world, right? We get everybody operating from self. We get everybody operating from here, from their heart. And so that's what I have for you guys today. If anybody has any other questions, let me know. Thank you. Awesome. Can't wait for tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow's going to be good. Tomorrow we're going to talk all about actions, action steps. Action steps are, this is where people get stuck. Some people are good until here, and then they get stuck, and they freeze. And so everybody's different. The actions are the part that I've always been maybe too good at sometimes, because I wouldn't allow the rest of it to unfold first. And I would just act before I even figured out what I was doing. But actions are key, because we live in a 3D world, because we are not living in our heads in the ethereal, and we can't just have a thought and it manifest in an instant, as much as we would like that to happen, because that's not the reality. I'm going to say yet, because my awareness very much doesn't like that it doesn't exist, because that's not the reality yet. We have to take actions. The actions are actually what ground it in and bring it into the physical. Bringing those things through our bodies and then acting upon that energy is what grounds it in. And so the actions are the key thing that actually manifests it forward for us. And so that's tomorrow's conversation. And in the meantime, please keep dreaming. Please do take a look at anything that's come up for why you can't, and really check in. Where is it coming from? What benefit is it serving you? And if it can leave, release it. Release it and stay in the energy of your dream. Stay in the energy of what you're creating. Allow yourself to really incubate this in your body. Okay. Thank you guys all for showing up today, and I will get this recording up shortly, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye, guys.